DA is challenging the agreement between the state and former President Jacob Zuma to cover his legal fees. The opposition party wants this set aside, arguing that taxpayers' money cannot be made to fork out the former president's court cases. Now, they claim the state has already paid 16 million rand in fees. Aldrin St. Pierre has been tracking the story over this past week for us. Aldrin, one of the big questions that has been raised is why the DA is only bringing this matter now when, according to the former president's lawyers, they knew in 2008 already that the state was covering his cases. Has that been a big issue at all in the court?
Well, certainly it has been. In the bigger part of President or former President Jacob Zuma's counsel's argument, the most part of his argument was focused on this issue. Why is this matter being brought so late, considering that back in 2008 a parliamentary question was asked by a member of parliament from the DA, and that question was answered. They are making the argument that as far back as then, the DA should have instituted the review against this decision or the agreement that was taken. But here's the thing, and this argument is made in relation to Paja, that when a decision is taken and you want to review that decision, you must do it within 180 days. An argument that has been made by the EFF, for instance, is that just for the mere fact that this wrong is continuously happening, that this decision to pay former President Jacob Zuma's legal fees is continuously happening, the Supreme Court of Appeal in another case, in the Khumalo case, has found that because there's a continuous wrong happening, it means that you're still within the framework or within the time frame of 180 days to bring a review. And as it stands at the moment, we know at least from the decision in March, well, the announcement in March by the President, that he said that he will continue to pay former President Jacob Zuma's legal fees because there's an agreement that was signed between Thabo Mbeki as well as Jacob Zuma, and he's just adhering to that.
What came out of the proceedings today?
And this is another argument being made by Thabani, is that the state has a duty to protect those who are working for the state, especially officials. And just take a listen, and this is one bite that really caught me by surprise, how far he believes the state should go in protecting, an example that he makes, the judges. And just take a listen to this.
Sure.
Is your point no matter what the judge is being charged with?
It's no matter what the judge is charged with.
Even if he's charged with housebreaking and theft?
Even if he's charged with rape. We say it's just an allegation.
And drunken driving?
And drunken driving. We say the state interest there is judicial independence. And remember, the control here is that if you should be found guilty, you pay the money back.
So basically, it sounds like some kind of legal aid that he's advocating for, but for officials of state, if I understand him correctly.
Well, certainly for the officials of state, but here's the other argument, is that if you look at the State Attorneys Act, and this has been something that Judge May has also been arguing, Section 33(1) says assistance, but assistance does not necessarily mean pay. It means that you use the services of the state attorney. And what has happened in the Jacob Zuma case is that while the state attorney said that we used Section 33(1) to assist Jacob Zuma, they went as far as paying. Because Jacob Zuma did not use the services of the state attorney, he went as far as procuring his own private lawyer, Michael Halley, and that's why the EFF is saying that even Michael Halley, for that matter, because this thing did not go through tender, must also pay back the money.
And what was the response to that?
Well, the response to that is something that we have to wait and see whether Michael Halley would be able to pay back the money. But remember that yesterday, Michael Halley tried to make an application and postpone this case so that he can make the submission, and how he will respond to these allegations that have been made that not proper procedure was followed in terms of procuring his services.
And I guess the problem here also, Aldrin, becomes the fact that these legal costs continue to almost rake up over the years. So it's not that they're decreasing, as you know, there's the court cases that the former president is going through. I imagine his lawyers also act on his behalf on issues such as the state capture inquiry, and so it's still going to be many more years of potentially legal cases that he has to answer.
And today we heard the confirmation coming from Thabani that this matter, for instance, is derailing him from focusing on the application for a permanent stay against the new indictment that has been brought by the NPA. But just take a listen to this one clip where Ngukai Tobi, representing the EFF, speaks about how this matter is the very same and similar to the Nkandla matter, where former President Jacob Zuma has enriched himself using public funds.
The president must have known when these payments were made that he was benefiting himself in his personal capacity and not in his official capacity. Nevertheless, he allowed the conflict to fester. And that is why this court, whether it is on condemnation or on the merits, has to grant an order that is effective enough to make sure that he repays the money.
Well, no guesses around why that parallel is being drawn, because even with Nkandla, the upgrades were justified,
yes,
at least some of them, but not to the extent that was ultimately paid.
And the undue benefit, of course.
Absolutely.
And that's the matter that Ngukai Tobi is trying to drive home here.
All right, Aldrin, you'll keep watching it for us. Aldrin Sampear on that particular story.